Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Icon. Thank you so much for checking into another episode of Esports Analysis. As we hop into this one, today we are on board with ENVOY. So we've been kind of switching around a little bit. We spent a few days with Scum. We did a couple videos with Arcities, a couple with Gunless, and I figured we would hop on board here with the Slayer, the SMG Slayer from Chicago, ENVOY. So as we get into this one, they are going to battle against Toronto. This was the second map that they scrimmed. They also won the first one. This one was a little bit closer, and that's kind of why I wanted to show this one just a little bit, because A, it was closer, and B, because ENVOY makes a lot of clutch plays that you probably wouldn't expect too many other people to make. That's just who he is, right? He just clutches up. He gets those big time kills and big time moments. So that is why we are on with him. But as we look at the top middle of our screen, it looks like there's about 10 seconds left in the current hardpoint. So what's happening right now? Now, I don't love this. So if we look at the score, Chicago's down by 34 points, but they were able to save spawns for P2. So minimap that's right above my head, Chicago got this spawn over here, and they essentially spent the entire time inside of this cone right here, making sure that Toronto couldn't flip these spawns and go back towards P2. So because of that, what has happened is they gave up 35 points on P1, which isn't a huge deal because at the end of P2, they're probably going to be somewhere around tied. But if they could have contested more on P1, if you're Toronto, for example, Toronto got this outside spawn, right? And since they were trying to push up through P4, they got the majority of the time on P1. So if you're looking at this from a Toronto point of view, they did really well because even though they weren't able to flip spawns, they were able to neutralize the damage that Chicago put on them by holding down and getting time inside of P1. So if you look at the score in the bottom left, yes, after P2, Chicago has a lead, but they're only winning by 7. So if you are Toronto, that's a win, right? And now as it's rotating to P3, they're inside of P3. Now, the one thing that I'll point out, look at ENVOY's minimap just real quick. So not the minimap that's above my head, but in the top left-hand corner of the screen. I don't know if you guys can see this up here or not, but there is a green arrow right there. And that green arrow has been hanging out. Just kind of, as I watch ENVOY play, I'm also watching the minimap, just trying to see what's going on. And the whole time, I've noticed that there's a green arrow back there. And I can't quite tell who it is, but that arrow is back there. And the whole reason, looks like that was Arcities. So Arcities was hanging out back there, hoping that his teammates could get a team wipe, or they could get 3 or 4 down. And then when they come up off spawns, they had flipped the spawns from P3. They weren't quite successful at that, but that's something that you need to be watching for. So like right now, as you are seeing ENVOY continuing to push mid, what they're really trying to do is just push out ADOM, or they're trying to push through P5. And the reason why they want to do that, because now at the end of P3, it's not really a big deal because they're probably going to get, so if you're looking at this from Chicago's point of view, when it comes to P4, they're probably going to get the majority of the time inside of P4. But the ultimate battle, the reason why there's such a battle going back for P5 is because you want to have those back spawns for P5. If you have those back spawns for P5, this is one of those hard points that you can really max out. And those kills right there from ENVOY, that just shows you the type of player he is, why he's so good. There were 2 running through ADOM, trying to get to P4, and he's just watching the cut. Most of the time, you'd be seeing players with M4s getting those kills, and ENVOY just has the ability to capitalize and get those kills, whereas there aren't too many people that do. So just like we were talking about, so this is kind of the opposite of what we were saying for that transfer from P1 to P2. Now as it's about to go from P4 to P5, if you're Chicago, you're the team spawning out. So how do you neutralize the fact that Toronto's going to get so many points inside of P5? You get a ton of points inside of P4. So they were able to get like 40 points off of P4. So since they were able to hold this down and hold down mid-map, even though they don't have spawns for P5, now if you can just get in and you can contest and you can muddy it up just a little bit, then as you go back through the second set of rotations, you're probably going to be somewhere close to tied. And just like that, you can see the last 5-6 seconds, Chicago's inside of hill. They're gaining time. Will they win the hill? That's yet to be seen. It does look like, I mean, this whole thing has been contested this entire time, but this is a big win, right? So rather than give up all of that time inside of P4, they made the conscientious decision to push and just get all that time inside of P4, and then hopefully they can win the gun battles for P5. And now that they've done that, they're going to get the last 13 seconds here. And as we're about to rotate into the second set of rotations, you can see that they've won the first set of rotations by about 50 points. So the key moment there in the first set of rotations was that they were able to hold for P2, right? They were able to regain the lead even though they gave up about 35 seconds inside of P1. And then the biggest thing is that when it went from P4 to P5, they were able to get the majority of the time inside of P4. They were able to hold that down. But the most massive thing is that they were able to flip for P5. They were able to get the last 25 seconds or so. And that's what causes like a 50-point swing, right? When we said at the end of the first set of rotations that Chicago had a 50-point lead, if they don't flip that last 25 seconds, then that's 25 seconds you can take off of their score and 25 seconds you can give to Toronto. And if you do that, then it essentially would have been a tie ball game, right? So those are the things that really end up pushing one team farther towards the finish line than the other. And now, again, this is the exact opposite of the first set of rotations. The first set of rotations, this is what Toronto did to Chicago. Now, on P1, Chicago wasn't successful at flipping spawns, but what they were successful at doing is they were successful at getting another 30 points or so on top of P1. So now if you can fight through and you can only give up like half of this hill time to Toronto, that's going to be considered a success. So we'll see what happens. This is one that, again, it's super hard to break through. Man, ENVOY, just his movement is insane. He's just that's one thing that I noticed when I watch ENVOY play is that he's just taking in and processing so much information all the time, right? It's not like he needs to watch a lane and then process what's going on and then turn and watch another lane and process. It's just like instantaneous. He's always taking in information and analyzing, and that's what you see with these top SMG players. A lot of these players do it, but when I'm watching ENVOY, sometimes it's just hard to actually see what he's doing because he's analyzing things so quickly. But right now, we have a 178 to 108 ball game. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm still going to chime in, of course, in the most important things that I see. But now that we can listen to ENVOY, I want to make sure you guys don't miss this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn up the volume, and let's hear what's going on from Chicago's team comms.
I kill this guy short.
I'm losing composure.
Make sure you get him. No, I can't.
I won. Yeah. Jump. You guys throw your tags. Throw your tags.
No attacks on top.
You go back mid.
Again, second set of rotations. This is kind of like the first set of rotations, right? They're in the same exact scenario. What they have to do now is they're not pushing up through P3, so you want to get as many points as you can inside of P4, so that neutralizes Toronto's ability to hold for P5.
Zin's hurt.
Wow. Nick.
I'm hitting this again.
Got me in the fucking smoke, weak. 10 seconds here.
Yeah, make sure they can't get fork.
Dude.
I'm new.
This was a phenomenal hold from Toronto.
What? He's back in pipes. Bance is in pipes.
And gained 40 points here, 50 points on P3. That's phenomenal time. And now all of a sudden, instead of being an 80-point game, it's a 30-point game.
Left side to hill, dead. I'm one shot. I'm absolute. I'm waiting. You have time.
Oh no,
I smoked A down.
Inside green.
I'm looking at the green push. In you dead. Give me green. Jump. One's in green still. In green.
Two more.
I'm trying to look your mid.
Trying to pick up P3 down. Trying to pick up P3.
Zin's dead. I'm absolute.
Man, those
Another one here.
are just insane.
We flipped again. Another one here.
The one thing I'll notice is that I'm trying to keep an eye on what's going on with spawns. Looks like there's a couple green arrows battling back there for P5.
Yeah.
That's still really
It
good
looks
time.
like as
He's
the
dirt.
rest of Chicago
They're
goes
dead.
off spawn, they are spawning P2. So they're not going to have
Two in the
spawns
back.
as it rotates back to P5.
Yeah, I'm forced right now,
I'm
guys.
P3. I'm
Doggy.
P3.
Yeah, there's one. Nick was doggy. They're gonna be deep back for sure
They're
though.
playing tight. I'm chilling P3 right now.
He's closing doors. I just lost composure. Deep
If
back.
you're
Seth, we get
Chicago,
kills, you should just stay
you
there.
have to try to have
Yeah.
the same
Trying to
success
keep
in
up right
P5
I'm going
on
top,
this set
top,
of
top,
rotations
top,
as you
top,
did on
top,
last
Hey,
set
front
of
door, front door.
Keep back, keep back.
And
Denny,
one thing
keep
that
back,
I'll
Denny.
say real quick, let me pause this. I haven't paused this video much, but this is an error on Toronto's part, right? If you're Toronto, and again, minimap right above my head I'm drawing on, if you have control of P5, you just watched ENVOY spawn over here, go all the way through mid-map, get through P1, get through ADOM, and the first time you're confronting him is right here outside of P5. You also saw Scum just run up right there. If that's what's happening, that's a major mistake. If you're Toronto, the further out towards mid-map you can take engagements, the better. So you want to have people pushed up over here in a coil. You want to be out here towards mid-map. You want to have somebody on P3 if you can. If you can get kills in this range, now you can really get a ton of time inside of P5. If you don't have people out there, then you risk giving up P5.
Front door
As
dead.
you can see right now, look at where Chicago
One doggy too. Doggy.
Doggy died.
Doggy dead, doggy dead.
He pushed back.
Five your middle.
One in the back or what?
Pushed up the back. He had to have just
Denny,
told me
Denny
P3.
dead front,
Now
right?
Chicago's in the back. Doesn't look like there's anybody else
Trying to
back
flood.
there.
I got there in the back set.
Back, dude.
I'm trying to get to the back.
Another one here. One shot on me. Absolute. He should be hurt. He should be hurt.
I fucked that up. That sucks. One's 8 on me, guys. Wait a second.
A real
Let's
P3.
let's fight this. Let's fight this.
Yeah, fight this. Fight this.
How many force? How many force? Going dirt.
He's
right,
dirt.
method.
He boxes
Got
weak.
fucked.
Up here.
Pay me.
Yeah.
Dirt dead. They should be Cole spawns. Maybe Cole.
I think it's flying like short.
No, another one. No, they spawned fork
I just
again.
want to make sure that I'm pointing out to you guys that, like,
Good time.
those series of kills right there by ENVOY, that's not normal, right? That's not something you see every SMG player doing. Sure, a BZ and Simp and some of the top SMGs do stuff like that, but you don't always see two pieces here, two pieces there, getting into hill, getting a three-piece, getting control of hill. That's not something that every player does. So I just hope that we're realizing what we're seeing here and we're not taking it for granted.
Two there. I got one.
Ben's wheel, guys.
Another one there.
I'm looking for Ben.
He's in the smoke right
On me
now.
right now.
Just
And
shot.
Ben-
And force.
Front green.
Ben.
Front green right now. He's green ramp.
Damn it, dude. He just-
Yeah,
guys try to win
That's
off
one
this?
P3. That's one P3.
One boy here.
I'll see this guy crates.
Got me.
So right now, let me pause this for a second. It's a 240 to 210 game with 25 seconds left in the current hard point. If you're Chicago, you want to try to win off of this hard point because you don't have spawns for P2 on the third set of rotations. So with 27 seconds left, you really want to try to win here because if you don't and these 20 seconds go to Toronto, now it's going to be 240 to 230 rotating to P2 and you don't have spawns for that. So if you're Chicago, you got to try to win here.
Out of time, dead.
Team kill.
I got one right here. You.
Piece right
I'm
around
trying to
the
hold
hill.
crates.
I'm pushing up crates.
They're gonna need their ramp.
Walking me back.
Netted you.
The rushing water.
Yeah, nothing crates. Nothing crates.
You jump
Yeah,
back.
got two.
This is,
Grab
kind
that
of this is kind of a mistake from ENVOY. Let me just draw this out real quick. I see what he's doing. You want to make sure, so all of his teammates are on the other side. But if you're on P1 and you're pushed up over here into P4, I get that he's watching this lane over here. But if he's pushed up into P4, where is Toronto going to be spawning? They're going to be spawning over here on this side of P2. So why, if there's 10 seconds left, you know that Chicago only needs 10 seconds. How are they going to go? What route are they going to take to get to P1? They're going to come through water, or at worst, they're going to run through bathroom here, right? They're going to run through showers. So I get what he's trying to do. He's just trying to make sure that they don't get pinched from the right-hand side. But nobody's going to go that way because they have to get into the hard point as quickly as they
Grab the time.
can.
Water again.
One's back right.
Water in bathrooms.
Back in open. He's going to be rock. Good job, guys.
And just like that, it's 250. One other thing that I want to point out real quick, you know what? I didn't see this entire time, and I love this about ENVOY. I never saw the scoreboard come up. A lot of times when you're watching pros like this, you'll watch and you'll see constant scoreboards coming up because they want to know like how they're doing. I never saw it. Not a single time did ENVOY bring up his scoreboard. And I don't know, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but for me, it just kind of, he's just so in tune that he doesn't care what he's doing. He doesn't care how many kills he's getting. He doesn't care about his personal score. He's just trying to win the game. A lot of times when you're watching scrims, every couple deaths, they'll just flash the scoreboard real quick because, oh, am I positive? Am I -5? Am I +15? Can I brag about this? ENVOY doesn't seem to worry about all that stuff too often. So with that, if we take a look at the scoreboard, ENVOY dropped the 40 bomb, 40 and 28 Arcides, you heard him complaining a little bit there. He was -6. Scump was +4. Gunless +1. Formal was -7. So not the best map overall as a team for Chicago, but ENVOY just absolutely fried. If you look down below, Metals was positive. Cammy was positive. Methods was -3. Classic was -8. And Bance was +1. So overall, this was a fairly competitive match. What was the difference? The slaying power from ENVOY, as a lot of times it is, right? So if you're new around here and you enjoy this sort of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I put out brand new videos like this every single day. If you have any comments on this one whatsoever, put them down in the comments. I love reading your guys' replies and I love the interaction. Please make sure you leave a like before you head on your way. And with that, guys, thank you so much. I will catch you in tomorrow's upload.